Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're looking back on the year 2014 and looking at different categories to see which games are the best ones of those categories. This is not a top 10 list, this is best categories of games. Now my criteria for this was the game had to have come out in 2014 somewhere in the world in a production fashion from a real publisher, and it at least has to have had English rules in it from the publisher. And if it did, then it met that criteria, even if it didn't have yet US distribution at the time of this video. Also to note that I have not played every game I have not played. There's tons of games that I did not play that came out this year. There's thousands of them come out a year, and I still have a pile of games that are still here that came out in 2014 that I have not yet played. So this is essentially, since the end of the year we're doing this, and it's for the games that I have played in this year. Let's get started. For best artwork for me, hands down, was Abyss. I mean, look at the box. You can even see from this, it was just an amazing thing, a work of art. The artist was Xavier Collette, who also did my favorite version of Dixit, which is Dixit Journey. It's sort of digitalized images. Wow, now just take a look at some of the pictures that are on this game. I mean, this artwork drew me more into any game than ever before. In fact, I even go as far as saying this is probably the best artwork I've ever seen in any game ever. I just absolutely love it. It really makes me feel like I am in this underwater abyss the whole time playing the game. It really draws me into theme. Abyss, best artwork. Best components for me was Colt Express. And the reason why I love this so much for components is that it's so unique to have the board actually be a three-dimensional train where you're moving your bandits from car to car within the train, and they could be on the bottom floor or the top floor. And even to throw it over the top, they had all these extra pieces like tumbleweeds and cacti. And it really made the game unique and interesting and really fun to play, and it fit back in the box the way that those components were built, so you didn't have to rebuild them every time. But I just loved playing with those trains, mixing them together, and just looking at it, the beauty of Colt Express. All right, the biggest brain burner for me was a game called Alchemists. Now, I got a chance to play this game at BGG convention, the BGG Con. And wow, before you even get through the rules and you understand the logic of this game, because it's essentially a logic puzzle with some worker placement, and you're trying to figure out what these different potions do if you make them, and there's positives and negatives, big and small, of 3 different colors, and you have to learn how they all fit together and what this means and what that means, and just understanding the basis of what these different potions do makes your mind melt. But then by the time you actually understand that, you're putting different ingredients together to make these different potions. You're then using logic and deduction to try to figure out, well, okay, if I know it's not this, then what could it be, or vice versa. And wow, it really makes your brain melt. I wouldn't call it a heavy deduction. The deduction's probably medium, but the game itself was heavy, and it really did make my brain melt. Alchemists. My favorite card game of the year, it's a trick-taking game with a twist. It's similar to Hearts or Spades, which you may have played with regular cards. It's called Diamonds. And I love this because, it's designed by Mike Fitzgerald, who's a master card game designer, put out by Stronghold Games. And I love this because it is very simple, it's easy to teach. If you've ever played trick-taking games, you'll catch on to it in a second. If not, it still only takes 5 minutes to learn. And I love how the different suit actions give you different things to do, and you're trying to get those diamonds. And it really is a simple but yet very fun game. It plays from 2 to 6, and not very many trick-taking games can I say actually play well with 2. This one does. Wow, really fun. Takes an easy, streamlined game. It adds just a twist, but it really changes the game up a bit. My favorite card game, Diamonds. My party game of the year is a game called Spyfall. It's for 3 to 8 players, where you are trying to guess who the spy is. Now, everybody gets a location card except one person. So everyone knows what same location they're at. One person's the spy. They don't know where they're at. And they're trying to figure out where they are by listening to these people talk. And when they talk, they're asking questions about anything. And they're hearing answers. And based upon those answers, the spy's trying to figure out where we are. But if the spy gets asked a question, they have no clue where they are. They're trying to blend in based on some of the answers they've already heard to try to not get outed out as the spy. It is a great, fun party game. And it's out in America next year, but it did come out this year with English rules in Russia. And it's called Spyfall. Keep your eye out for this party game. My favorite reprint of the year is a Sid Saxon classic that originally came out, I believe, in the 90s, in a negotiation game called I'm the Boss, recently reprinted this year by Eagle Gryphon Games. It's an excellent negotiation game for 3 to 6 players. It takes about an hour to play, where you're trying to, one person's the boss each round, and you're divvying up different investment deals to different people around the table, depending on which spot you are on the board. But you also get to play these different cards at any time in the game to take over. Maybe you take over yourself to be the boss, and you shoot that guy out of the deal. Or maybe you cut other people off. Maybe you can act as somebody else and cut them out of the deal. It's a lot of cutthroat fun, negotiation, great family game actually. 3 to 6 players, negotiation, I'm the Boss. All right, the most innovative game for me is called Witness. It's a deduction-ish memory game. You can only play it with 4 players. You're trying to solve a mystery. There's like 60 different mysteries in the game. And what you're doing is you're whispering clues into someone's ear next to you. But then you're going to hear some clues. And then you're going to give some more clues, everything you know. And over the course of rounds, you're getting more and more information, but you're hearing it multiple times and it's going around the table. So it's like telephone meets deduction clue meets some memory elements. And at the end, you can't write anything down until the end. After you've heard all the clues, then you're furiously writing it down, and then you got to try to answer 3 different questions, and then you're trying to solve a crime together. It's very interesting, very unique. Witness, this will come out in 2015 in the United States, but it was released around Essen with English rules. Witness. And the best expansion for this year, don't get me wrong, I loved Seven Wonders Babel, but I think for me is the one that was the expansion for this game, Las Vegas. This is the base game, I put everything in this box, but it's called Las Vegas Boulevard. And it did come out in Europe this year with an English rule set. It'll come out in the United States next year. Take a look for that. And the reason why I thought this was the best expansion, because it added like 12 different modules, or many different modules, I don't know if I have the number right, that you could add or subtract in. You can add as many or as little as you want. Even adding just one of them changes the game quite a bit. But you can mix them all in, and it just gives the game an almost unlimited amount of replayability now. And that's why I love this Las Vegas Boulevard. My favorite children's game this year. Now this game is ages 8 and up, so it's not for little kids, it's for bigger kids, and it can be played well with adults too. We're talking about The Hare and the Tortoise. This came out from Yellow Games as part of their Tales and Series game. Really fun game where you're secretly a hare or a tortoise or a wolf or one of these sheep, or one of these animals. It's 2 to 5 players, and you're trying to play cards to manipulate the race, but each little character moves differently. They all have different characteristics as to how they move when moving gets triggered, and you're secretly 2 of these people, sometimes more if there's less players, and you're trying to get them around the board, and you're trying to be sneaky about who you may be because you don't want other people to help you. It's just a really cool, sneaky little game that has some interesting card play, but it's still really fun for kids, but also really fun for adults. I'm talking about Hare and Tortoise. Okay, this is the first time that I've picked one game for 2 different categories. I've never done this before, and I try not to do this. I try to pick a different game for everyone, but this game, hands down, really won it for both of these categories for me, and I didn't want to butt it out of either of them. This is the family game of the year for me, and it's my surprise game of the year. Now, surprise game of the year for me is typically something that comes from a first-time designer or maybe a smaller publisher. In this case, it fits both those models. Family game, for me, it's got to play well with kids, play well with adults, play well with parents, play well with grandparents, pretty much the whole caboodle. This one does that too, and gamers love it too. I'm talking about the Game of 49. I played this at BGG Con, was enthralled by it. I grabbed a bunch of my friends and over there and played it. I played it like 3 or 4 times there, and every group I played it with ran and bought it right afterwards. In fact, the guest event person, Rich Summers from Mad Men, came up to me afterwards and said, "Hey, I bought that Game of 49 after you recommended it on the podcast." We went and bought it right away and played it twice right in a row, and we loved it. So It's a fun, very simple, elegant design. The rules are so simple. It's an auction game where you're just trying to get 4 chips in a row. That's it. But the trick is there's these wild cards that come off that let you go in a lot of different spaces in the game, and then you get a payout, and you're getting paid money, $7 for every chip that's on the board at that time. So there's sort of a different ebb and flow, different strategies of whether you're trying to put a lot of chips on the board early and get a lot of payoffs, but if the cards don't come up, you may have spent too much too early. I love that it's simple, it's easy. It does have a definite amount of luck in it, but there's definitely a lot of strategy too. For me, it's the perfect game for families and the perfect game for gamers too. We've had a lot of fun with it. And it was definitely a surprise because this is one of those games that's sort of themeless. The components won't blow you away. Even the idea of how to play the game or what you're trying to do might not blow you away, but it's the experience that did. And that's also why it's a surprise of a year. So for me, the Game of 49, both Family Game of the Year, Surprise Game of the Year. If you haven't played this one, check it out. The simple elegance feels like a Sid Saxon design, and I haven't played with anybody yet who has said that has not said, "Ooh, I really like this," after they've played the game. Have not yet found one person I played it with, easily over 20 different people, and that's the Game of 49. Well, there you have all my best games for different categories in 2014. I don't do a best game of 2014 because I do a top 10 list, and I didn't want to ruin the surprise for that video that's going to be coming out. And so if you're watching this, you can go check that one out. It might be out right around the same time. And so that's the 2014. We'll see you next year.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.